So I've got some white oak right here that's dry, and it's nice if you just keep these things in the kiln, a little spot for them. They don't have to be, I mean, dried. Just air dried's nice, but super dried's good. So this is just, you know, cut off stock, split stock, so to split with me really nice. So you can see, well, there they go across the floor. And then you just take one of those wafers, and I like to cut them in the radial plane. So right there, the growth rings are running like that, the radial plane, only because they're easier to cut with the chisel. That's it. Tangential plane, you got to push it a little harder, and but either one is fine. And you just come down right like that. It's a little too wide for the chisel. I should have. Here you go. Here's one the same size as the chisel. I'll do this one. And you want to try to get it as even as possible, because as you drive it in, it won't try to go right like that with you. Okay. Well, it's one more little time. There's a little bit right there at the tip. Okay. So I've got 3 other ones here. So we'll go over to the seat now. I'm ready to drive the wedges in, and so they'll always go perpendicular to the longwood fibers of the mortise piece. So it's the mortise piece that determines the direction of the wedge, not the tenon. You don't want to do it like that. It could split it, or any variation of, just dead on straight across. I size the wedges exactly to the size of the hole. I don't want pressure pushing in on the side of the mortise. In other words, I don't feel that you need to lock the wedge in by pushing it into the mortise. I think that sets you up for a problem of splitting the leg or splitting the seat. The leg is not going to twist. I've got a stretcher down here that stops that. Also, you can saw these cursed if you want, but I'm just eliminating tools and methods, and we're just going to split this thing. And if you're using glue, then you would put glue on one side of the wedge to create a expansion joint, fail-safe joint, whatever, a weak part to where, when through expansion and shrinkage over the years, it's not pulling the glue off the wall right here. It's got a weaker point right here up against this wedge, and it's got glue on the other side, so it's not going to come out. Okay, so let's just split this. Okay, drive it in until the sound changes or the seat splits, one or the other. Hopefully it's the former. Okay, when I come back, I'll draw these other ones in, and then we'll cut them off and dome them. So before I cut these things off, we're going to level the chair, legs to the bench. So on the drawings, if you've got the drawings, what you're going to see is I show a 3/4 inch cant or tilt to this seat, and I typically want the front of the chair, the top front of the chair, the top being this plane right here, out there, which would be right like that, at 18 inches. since we want a 3/4 inch tilt, then this should be at 17 1/4. Okay? And you want it level side to side. So the first thing I'll do is just look here. That's 17 15/16 and 17 7/8. So this side's got to go up a 16th, and let's see if we'll make that happen. 17 and 15. Okay, now let's look and see what we have here. We've got 17 and 11/16. For those of you that use the metric system, this stuff must drive you crazy. And we're at 18 and a half. So it's almost 3/4 inch difference. That is 13/16 difference. And I'm just going to go with that. That's perfectly fine. If I wanted 3/4 difference, then I would raise the rear up another 16th, both back here. And then I would have it level side to side, and I would have a 3/4 inch difference. I'm not going to bother with that. 13/16. No big deal. Now, what I measured up here was 8 1/2, and so that means that we want to take off a 1/2 inch off all the legs. So that means that I need a block. So let me go find the block. Okay, so I've got a little block here, and if I set the pencil on it, it's pretty close to 1/2 inch. It's a little more than half, so I'll just cut on the lower side of the line. Okay, so I've got it leaned out here. I'm going to saw it off. Now, in the spirit of trying to use the least number of tools that I can use, this is the saw that I used early on to cut some stuff to length. So I was going to see, it's a little coarse for this work right here, but we'll see if it'll work. This is a little saw that my dad gave me when I was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, and I still use it. It's a great little saw. So getting it started is the trick on it being as coarse as it is, but that worked just great. Well, I'll saw these other ones off when you aren't looking, and then we'll come back. And after you cut them off, you're going to want to chamfer the bottoms of the legs, because they'll splinter if you don't. And so I put a pretty good size chamfer on mine. Nope, knife works better if you turn it around. There we go. So next thing to do is to saw these off, and then I'm gonna, if you see on the plans the way that it's drawn, or you look in the photograph, you can see it, is I leave these domed. It's kind of a form follows function thing, which is what everything is, I guess, in craft. and that is that since I'm not using glue, it's kind of forming like a rivet up at the top. This is super dried. You've driven a wedge in it to help it spread out. It's going to expand, and if you leave it sticking up above the seat, maybe it will mushroom just a little bit, just get a hair larger. It doesn't take much, and then it can't go back down through. And so then you make it a design feature by doming it really nice. And the doming's a little tricky, and I found the best way to do it is with a skirt, which also works in well with the minimized tools, because that's what we used right here. So that's what we shall be doing. So this is not real easy, but it looks good when you get finished. And I've tried other tools on it, and while I'm trying to limit tools and just use ones I've used, which is the skirt, still I've tried other tools and I haven't found anything I like any better for this than the skirt. But you got to watch it. I always kind of think you could cut your leg or something. So make sure there's no meat in front of the blade. Maybe I put my foot there and keep it coming up in the air. Now I'm getting enough angle on it to get some good cut. And you can hear a difference. I'm sure you can hear that. And you don't want to leverage off of the seat, you'll dent it. That's tricky, but you'll figure it out. So it's close. It's a little pointy there. That's doming it pretty nice. Okay, I think that's a good job, so I'll do the rest of these, and the next time I see you, we're going to be working on this back. Bye.